I look at chakra systems as only an interpretation. So we can use the harmonics of music to interpret the traditional systems, 7, 8, 12, and 13. The center shows an octave in music. And if we look at the white keys, there's 8. And if we look at all the keys, there's 13. Now, an octave is complete within itself. So it contains all the sharps and flats in the chromatic scale. Not only that, but it sort of has an optional point of view. So the top white key is actually the first note of the next octave. So if we look at just 7 white keys, it'll give us the system on the right, the 7 chakra system. And if we include the 8th, it'll give us the first chakra of our next set of chakras. And the same goes with the 12 and 13, just including the black keys. I've heard that there are up to 144,000 chakras within the body. That's not really manageable. Now, every chakra has a front and back. You could, because this is an interpretation, you could view your chakra system as a 5 system, a 3 system, or just one whole chakra. And how you interpret your energy affects how energy flows through you. And that's something I read in Drunvalo Melchizedek's work, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. And that's where the 13 system on the left, that's where that image comes from. Now, we talk about raising vibration, raising our vibration. So if we look at the colors associated with the 7 system, so again that lines up with the harmonics of music, it gives us the colors of the rainbow in order. Now the colors of the rainbow, if you take the color red and you had a 1 foot length, say red goes up and down 1 time. So it has a really long wavelength. And the higher you go, the more times that color goes up and down. So by the time you get to purple, it might go up and down 100 times in that same space. That is a way to describe energy density versus material density. So material density is more physical matter in the same amount of space. Energy density is the same thing, just more energy in the same amount of space. And that's how we raise our vibration. Now I find it really interesting that we could view our chakra system as one chakra because it gives us the color of the rainbow. We are a body of water, or like a prism, and if you shine pure white light into a prism, it creates the rainbow. And that's part of how I look at our ascension process, is having every one of our chakras functioning fully healthy to be the rainbow, or together pure white light. Now, I am explaining all this to explain energy work, but it's not all necessary, but we'll get there. So I look at the bodies as existing in layers. So the physical exists within the emotional, and it's a sphere within a sphere, and then a larger sphere has the mental body, and then the spiritual body has a larger sphere. And now that to me is also just an interpretation, and it's a point of view of separation, because you could view the bodies as separate, but they're completely intertwined at the same time. So you could just view them as one whole sphere. And Edgar Cayce, who's known as the sleeping prophet, he says that nothing manifests within our physical body without being connected to our other bodies. We also have an astral body, our higher self, our lower self, our inner child, and a soul. I think our connection to our inner child is extremely prevalent to rising to the next octave of existence. And in Egypt, they would show 2 scales. And on one end would be the initiate, or the person who's passed away, their heart, and then the feather on the other side. And the idea of that is lightheartedness. And you can't proceed unless you have lightheartedness, which comes from a healthy inner child. So you got to dance and have fun. Like that is part of life. This experience is meant to be fun. And every chakra spins clockwise. So if the chakras on the front of our body would be like having a clock mounted on the front, the chakra on the back, so the back of the heart chakra, would be like a clock mounted on your back. Your crown would be like a clock on your head facing up, and your root chakra would be like sitting on a clock facing down. That's how they spin.